Chelsea prediction for next week last, because obviously we're going to preview that. But
Yeah.
for me, that shows that how on earth they won the league last year, I don't understand. Like, obviously,
Well,
a lot was it to do with the fact that we had a few draws here and there, but they almost look a different team to what they were last year.
well, with Chelsea, like, mark my words, it's like I'm prophesying this. Conte will resign by Christmas, in my opinion.
I've been saying that to a lot of people. I went to play football with a Chelsea fan a couple of weeks ago, and I said to him, I wouldn't be surprised if Conte retired by Christmas, because
He's not been backed by the board.
No,
they sold all his depth.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, this is one thing, an argument I have a lot with Chelsea fans. If there was one thing they could change about their club, they would. Is the likes of a Tammy Abraham and a Ruben Loftus-Cheek and a Chalobah. These are quality players with great potential, but with Chelsea are so stuck in their ways that they're just going to sell them all. And this is where, like, when Spurs can find that balance, will be the perfect club. Well, when we start winning things.
I think parts of our fan base, at least, I hope this people don't listen to this and think, oh, you're just attacking us or something. But there's some of our fan base, for example, who think because of this youth and success we've had with Winks and Kane, and maybe some others, in that we should not buy as many players because we have so many youth players coming through. But then on the other hand, you have people who are completely against the youth, I guess.
Like Chelsea, for example, the way their boards run.
Yeah, they're like completely the other side, and they're like, we just use our youth.
It's a case of
like a money-making machine.
Yeah, it's a case of who finds the balance. So obviously that finished 3-2 to Burnley. Everton Stoke, I predicted 3-0 Everton, but it finished 1-0 Everton. But I'm not too worried about that. I think Everton have had one of the best transfer windows.
Yeah,
like Pickford, fantastic really signing. Keane, brilliant. I wanted Keane, and I still would have loved him. But I think Rooney going back, I think that's fantastic, because I think that's one thing that Spurs.
He will do well there.
I think he will want to win an FA Cup or a Europa League or something with Everton before he retires, and I think that will lift the whole team up. West Brom Bournemouth, I predicted 2-1 Bournemouth, and obviously West Brom won 1-0. I was quite surprised with the Egyptian defender that West Brom have signed. I think he was really, really good against.
I've heard a lot about him actually.
Bournemouth. Well, to be fair, anyone who gives Pulis a 6'5" defender, they know they're in for a trouble, aren't they? So
Pulis, oh god. Yeah.
West Brom did quite. I think Joe Rodriguez is a good signing, but again, I don't think. Oh, obviously they've signed Gareth Barry now, which they hadn't done last week. I think Gareth Barry is a credit to the Premier League. I think he's been a fantastic.
I think Joe Rodriguez kind of ruined by his injuries. I remember I was him when Pochettino joined, and I really liked him. But then he had that really horrific injury, and he hasn't really looked the same.
No, although he did score that cracking goal for West Brom. He did score that cracking goal for West Brom in pre-season, but so
yeah.
I do think Bournemouth will have another good season. I think signing Defoe, and Bournemouth haven't lost anybody of big means, and they've signed Begovic, Ake, and Defoe. So
they've done well.
I think Southampton Swansea. I predicted 1-0 Southampton. It was 0-0. Swansea. I mean, now obviously they've got rid of Sigurdsson. I think Paul Clement's a smart man. He will spend that £45 million with whatever
Chadley's on his way.
Around. Yeah, I actually heard that because he had a bust up with Tony Pulis, didn't he?
Yeah,
this is like a trading of ex-Spurs players or something. They'll want Yunus Kabul next. But I've not seen much of the Southampton new manager. Lamina's a good signing, but I just don't think Southampton I think they've kind of lost it since they lost Koeman. I didn't realise how important he was until he left, and they've kind of crumbled.
Well, I don't know what Southampton want to achieve. I think that's the biggest question.
Because they realistically,
what do they want to achieve?
They should be achieving Europa League, but obviously with Kyle Puel, they were woeful in the Europa League.
But they got rid of Koeman left, and as far as I can remember, they sacked a manager, didn't they? Or was Puel not sacked? And I'm getting confused.
They sacked Puel. They sacked Puel last season. Yeah,
so they changed manager for no reason really.
Because I think getting them to the FA Cup final, which they didn't deserve to get knocked out in the way they did.
Well, it was good for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, for think about it. Like if the Spurs got to a cup final, then obviously we'd be over the moon with it. So
yeah.
That's Crystal Palace Huddersfield. Now this was ridiculous because I predicted 3-0 to Crystal Palace, and I said they had one of the best transfer windows for signing De Boer. But what the heck happened there?
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest shot was Huddersfield. That was incredible the way they played.
Even though a lot of journalists I follow have been speaking quite highly of Huddersfield, so I don't know whether I should have been surprised with that result, but still 3-0
3-0.
away from.
It's especially first weekend. Obviously, it sets them up really well. And
Yeah.
I do think Huddersfield will go down. To be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they might stay up.
Originally, I predicted them to go down. I predicted Burnley to stay up, which I'd now changed, despite them beating Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because you're like, Palace could have another season like they did under Pardew, where 4th of December they were in 4th, and they were 2 points into 4th. But then, come the end of the season, they've had to go crying to Big Sam because they're about to collapse. So it'll be interesting. Do you think that? What do you think would be a good season for Palace? Do you think pushing
Top 10?
Top 10, fair enough. Because obviously they've always been a team that've been here, there, and everywhere, haven't they?
I can't see them being good enough to make a European spot.
Yeah, I suppose with the likes of the way Everton have strengthened, and even West Ham, I know they're woeful against United, but I still think
because I'd say Everton are nailed on for top 6. Wouldn't you, or top 7 at least?
I'd say probably. I'd say top 7 they're nailed on for. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they're not going to drop out, and you've got Liverpool and Arsenal and the other 4.
Yeah.
And including us, they're definitely going to be the top 6. So
yeah, I suppose there's not really much room for Palace left up there, even if they did have a good season.
Like Everton kind of have to hope that Liverpool and Arsenal, one of the team, has a bad season if they want to make the top 4. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Brighton versus City, I predicted 4-0 to City, and it was actually 2-0. I still think City have probably had, despite of how much money they've spent, I still think City have probably had the best window. Like, every bit of dead wood that they've got in their team, they've got rid of. The only thing I'd really disagree with Manchester City was not loaning out Bravo and keeping Caballero. For me, that just doesn't make sense. Because Caballero
left on a free, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's much difference with that, but I don't know. City scare me after watching that game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if we really want to bring up Kyle Walker, but I thought he was brilliant.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
But you know they've got so much attacking, and their bench is just ridiculous.
This is the thing with City, though. Say you've got, they're putting Bernardo Silva, for example. When he's in the first team and David Silva's on there, how many seasons does David Silva want to stay on the bench for?
But they've got Alexis Sanchez as well, apparently.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't know how they're going to fit them all in.
No, it's almost like Pep's just won the lottery and now he's spending money crazy and not realised that he lives in the real world.
But, he bought good fullbacks, give him credit because they really needed them. I still think the one weakness with City is if Kompany gets injured.
That's the thing is, I don't rate Kompany as a centre-back, but as a leader, I rate him.
He's brilliant.
And I think that without Kompany, John Stones isn't going to step up, is he? John Stones hasn't got the balls to step up and lead the City defence. Let's say it blunt and not sugarcoat it. John Stones has not got... The way he played for his last few weeks at Everton, when he was linked to the City move, were absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to play for a move to a so-called big club, then not a way to play. Newcastle versus Spurs. I predicted 2-1 Spurs, and obviously it was 2-0. For me, I think there were a few chances we could have been a bit more clinical. Kane hit the post, obviously, and whatever else. But and for a first game of the season for Spurs, and the fact that the last time we were there we lost 5-1, I don't think it was a bad result at all.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to lie to you and say the red card didn't help, but it was a red card.
It was a red card, yeah.
There's no disputing it. What I can't get my head around is how Shelby just walked past him and did it as if casually just stamped on him.
It's another thing I bring up with Ali, and people say in Ali's first season he was temperament. If someone hit him or did something to him, it just light up like that. Whereas now, Ali almost.
I was really impressed with the way he dealt with it.
Last year, Valdez punched him in the face twice, and he didn't react. He just walked away.
Yeah.
And it shows how much he's maturing as a player.
I think the Shelby thing showed that he matured a lot. I mean, after his red card, I was fuming at him last year. Yeah. But this year, I think he has matured with that Shelby thing. It showed because he didn't even really dive about it or do anything and even he had a little scrap with another Newcastle player. I can't remember who it was, and he just didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it was he showed he matured, and I remember Pochettino saying he had conversations with him or something about it.
That was after the was it the conversations after, yeah, I know he had some talks with him a couple of days after his red card in the Europa League last year because he was
Yeah, so it's
fuming
obviously
at him.
getting through to him.
So yeah, which was the biggest worry when we so obviously we want to we want to make sure he still has that spark to him, but we
Yeah,
don't
I think
want
it's
him
more
to.
like controlling the fire in the
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, he'll get us probably 15 goals at least in the league.
yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. The biggest thing I worry about him is the fact that we're missing him for the first few games, the first 3 or 4 games of the Champions
Yeah,
League, and I think that's obviously going to base into the players that the
I
pot
think
tries to sign.
I think with us, we won't know what position will be in terms of whether it's really bad that he's out or it's, tolerable whether until we see the group. Because I think Ericsson and Son they should have enough there
Well,
to win.
Son played with Leverkusen a lot in the Champions League, and I think that showed last year when he scored the goal against CSKA in Moscow. He knew
Yeah,
what
I
he was
really
doing.
like Son.
Son for me was a player that he scored a few goals last season, but this season, like everybody in the league's just admitted, wow, like
Yeah,
no one knew him. But United versus West Ham, I predicted 3-1 United, and obviously they got 4-0.
yeah.
Lukaku still ain't getting the golden boot. I don't care what anyone says.
Lukaku, yeah. I think he'll get 30 goals though.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, West Ham have signed everybody. Not West Ham. United have signed everyone they need to sign. The only player I'm a little bit iffy on is
Is it less than a
Lindelof.
half?
Yeah, because £35 million for him, it just makes me think he's not got Premier League experience. The track record of signing players from the Portuguese league in their first season in the Premier League isn't great.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he the player they should go in for when they can go potentially try and go for a Diego Godin or something like that? Yes, he's old, but he still brings experience.
I mean, I never heard of Lindelof until they signed him.
I knew him because of FIFA, and that was about it. So,
Yeah. But I mean, they did need a centre half, so I guess they sorted that. I was just going to mention quickly with Lukaku. What impressed me a lot about him on Saturday was his. I often criticised him last year about his all-round game, and I think it's almost like he stepped up.
it did seem like it. Like he almost seemed a bit more switched on.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I noticed for the first goal, the assist from Rashford, like his reaction time to hit that was fantastic. Whereas with Everton, it was almost like he knew that the passes weren't going to. Maybe it's because the quality into him wasn't as good. But even then, that shouldn't really be an excuse if you consider yourself to be a top player, which he is.
I mean, Kane scored like how many goals when he had Paulinho behind him?
Yeah, well. How on earth he's ended up...
What I'm saying is, I think often football fans try to give excuse of like a player behind them or a player in front of them is not as good enough to fulfil their own potential. But I think Lukaku, I saw a change in him, and which is what convinced me to say for something like he's going to score something like 30 goals because there's no way, that who. In the Mourinho side, I think he will get loads, and they might get Perisic as well. I heard. So,
yeah, well, there's rumours of him signing new contract and whatever, iffy and whatever. I do think though, like Kane last year when he scored that goal against Everton, where he just picked the ball up halfway between the halfway line and the edge of the 18-yard box and just smacked it. Like I feel like slowly but surely Lukaku's going to have that about him.
Eventually.
And I think, especially working under Mourinho, I think there'll be times when Mourinho says, okay, we need someone who's literally just going to pick that ball up and do something with it that you wouldn't even dream of doing with it. The likes of when Ali does score the goal he did against Palace 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Kane with some of the screamers he scored last year. Even Son, like the goal he scored against Watford, where we won, what was it, 4-0 or 4-1? And he picked the ball up in the middle of nowhere and just curved it with his left foot into the bottom corner. Like, I feel like Lukaku will slowly have that edge about him. Although I do still think the goalie, the offside in the Super Cup was quite funny when he started celebrating and having a go at the referee even though he was onside. But yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's going to... I think Kane will get the golden boot anyway. Like, I agree with you. But I think Lukaku won't be far behind. And I think, like you said, the big difference between Kane and Lukaku at the moment, in a sense you could say Kane's a year ahead of him, and he always will be a year ahead of him, is he doesn't have the ability to get the ball and just turn and score a goal like Kane did against Everton.
Yeah.
He's more going to be on the end of things.
Yeah, and I suppose that's one when like Lukaku now will increase more because his goal contributions more. Whereas like with Spurs, if you put pretty much any striker with a good attacking mindset in our setup, they would get a certain amount of goals because that's just the way the system works. Whereas
Yeah.
with Lukaku at Everton, the system was changing so frequently, players were in and out so frequently, there was no consistency. Now at United, he'll know the players. He'll know the players around him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like Rashford wasn't.
Yeah,
Was
Rashford.
incredible.
Although I do think personally, Rashford needs a move away from United, even if it's just a loan move, because I feel like
To fulfil his potential.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. My predictions for next week: I've got Swansea versus United first. I've got 3-1 United. I don't know. I'm going to keep putting down that they're going to concede because one week they will concede, and I feel like
I think it's 2-0 United. That's what my prediction.
Right, where's my pen? I'll write down what your predictions are, and then I can.
Okay.
and I'll see what they are, and I'll put them on Twitter at the end of this week. So you've gone 2-0 United.
Yeah. Okay.
With
we'll do it like that. Okay.
Burnley West Brom, I've gone 2-0 West Brom. I think from set pieces last week they were fantastic. I think it's Pulis. He'll always set up like that. I think Gareth Barry will be a great addition. I fully expect him to play. I think that's one thing I've said for West Brom for a while is they lack a leader. I think they lack a Tony Pulis on the pitch. God, that'd be awful to play with. But I feel like that's what they need, and obviously Gareth Barry's proven his worth over the years. So that's why I've
He'll
gone.
do well there.
That's why I've gone 2-0 because I don't think Burnley realistically are going to pull out another shocker. Although that second goal I think it was they scored against Chelsea, absolutely fantastic goal. So I'm going 2-0 West Brom for that.
I'll say 2-2.
2-2. Interesting. Leicester. Is that? I can't even remember. Right. Let me do by process of elimination. That's Brighton, Leicester and Brighton. I've gone 3-0 Leicester. I think Iheanacho is a great signing. I think Vardy's scoring again. I do think they need to resolve Mahrez though, because the Roma manager's given them till the 15th, and if I'm not mistaken, today's the 15th.
16th, yeah. 16th.
So yeah, and he's given them one of these deadlines to say if you're not accepting the bid for Mahrez, then go. And apparently Mahrez's agents urged Roma to put in a slightly higher bid. Another player that...
But he's still playing though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's not... He doesn't look like he's playing to the same extent he did in Leicester's start of the season.
I would say same score as you, 3-0 Leicester.
Bournemouth Watford, I've gone for 2-2. I don't expect Bournemouth to lose again. And Watford, I mean, they were good against Liverpool, but again, it's no story to anybody, no new story to anyone that their defence is not great. So I expect Defoe to be in the top maybe 5-7 goal scorers next year.
Yeah, he'll get 15, I think, league goals or something like that. I would say Bournemouth are going to win 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
Okay, Liverpool Crystal Palace. Liverpool do love a Crystal Palace game, don't they?
Yeah.
Shame Dwight Gale's not on the team. No, I've gone 3-0 Liverpool here because of the way Palace defended last week.
Yeah.
I mean, surely Liverpool can't defend worse than Palace. I mean, I say that, but probably got another 3-3 incoming. I think Salah's a great addition. I think he's blended in fantastically. It's like he's been playing there for years. But again, Liverpool's defence is just woeful, really.
I'd say 3-1 Liverpool. I think they'll concede one.
I think Mignolet got quite unlucky against Middlesbrough, to be honest with you. Stoke versus Arsenal. I've gone 2-1. I've gone 2-1 Arsenal because I expect them at some point to pick up a win that's slightly more convincing. But then again, it's a cold afternoon in Stoke, isn't it? So
I would say 1-1.
I do think Stoke are I think signing of Hesse is good, but I still think Stoke are considerably weaker than last season.
The thing is, I think Arsenal won there last year and they had that hoodoo, but I don't know. I think Stoke, it's always like a derby apparently when they go. So
yeah, but always a team that want to nick 3 points from them because it's easiest way.
Yeah, because Arsenal. Apparently.
Huddersfield Newcastle. I've gone for 2-2 because I feel like Newcastle after last week are going to have a bit of confidence knock. Not only that, is they've all got rage at John Joe Shelby. If they've not cracked his bald head open by now, then they probably won't ever do it. But I think Huddersfield will set up well. And I think Huddersfield, I was really surprised. I think they've got a lot of goals in them. But I think they'll be a team that, when they draw against like Bournemouth and Palace and and West Brom. That I feel like it'll be quite high draws.
Yeah.
But I still think 2-2 for that one's what I've gone for.
Yeah, same score for me, 2-2.
City versus Everton. I've gone 2-1 City, but I feel like they're probably going to score more. I feel like that's a bit naive going for that. I just feel like City against Brighton, they missed so many chances.
I know, it was incredible.
How they didn't score 7, 8 goals, I don't know. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus got his first season first full season in at City now. I think he's fantastic.
I think 5-2.
5-2, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I think they will concede, because in these kind of games when there's loads of goals, normally
someone's
you
going to concede on the break, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then for the big one, Tottenham versus Chelsea. I've gone 2-1 Spurs. I feel like this is a game where, like when we drew 2-2 with Chelsea at the Bridge the season we lost the title to Leicester, it'll either be a game where Chelsea are like, they're so angry they're angry at the board for not backing Conte and the lack of signings or the quality of signings or the stupidity of Fabregas and whatever, and they'll just go full raging and hit us and we won't realise it, and then we'll be 2 or 3-0 down in the first 25 minutes and that'll be the game lost.
Okay.
Or it'll be a game where like when we beat him 2-0 at White Hart Lane last year, where there are a few chances because the teams are quite even, but we just have that last little bit, that Ericsson pass or that Ali flick or Kane run on, that will then give us the win.
Yeah. But it's a tough game to call.
I don't think, after we played against Juve, and I know people said it's pre-season, but it was Juve's full-strength team. When I saw us play that game and the way we played, for me now there is no excuses for playing at Wembley. Like, there wasn't before in the first place, but I just feel like the how professionally we won that game against Juve, the quality of the goals, the fact that there weren't particularly mistakes, the fact that Juve didn't get many chances on target. Like, okay, if it's in Champions League and we're against Juve, it's a slightly different scenario because they're going to be going for it slightly more. But it doesn't change the fact that we beat Juve's full-strength team 2-0.
I don't really look into friendlies that much, so I don't really think, that was... Because I think they were weak behind us on pre-season as well. But, for me, there was never a Wembley hoodoo in the first place anyway. I think it was just a myth. And I think the worst thing we can do is actually put out on social media or keep believing that there is one. Because as long as we say there is one...
The players are going to believe it.
The players are going to think there is one. And it's going to be like a curse. But I don't think there is an actual hoodoo unless we make it into a hoodoo, if that makes sense. Yeah,
so we're almost like we're shooting ourselves in the foot in a sense. We're lowering the confidence of the players by suggesting that there's something there that there isn't. I mean,
but also, I don't know whether the players believe there's a hoodoo, but it just seems that the whole fan base thinks playing at Wembley, it's horrible, Granted, it's not White Hart Lane. We're never going to get White Hart Lane again now. And obviously, new stadiums may share the same name. I don't know. We don't know yet. But as in, if we create that there is a curse, there will be one.
Yeah.
So the worst thing we can do is keep believing that there's a Wembley hoodoo, because I think the players will start believing it too. And it's...
See, I feel like the game when we lost 4-2 Chelsea last year, I feel like that game, the only difference really last season between Spurs and Chelsea were Chelsea could bring world-class players off the bench and we couldn't. I feel like, and that lacking that little bit more experience again, which obviously was proven by the fact that we've been last season we turned the season before's draws into wins and we got more convincing results. It was 4-0 every other week at some point.
Because Son stepped up as well.
Exactly. So, and it was almost like we had a fresh new signing last year. And I feel like Wembley, you've got how many? We've got the most English players in any other starting 11 in the league, haven't we? Or something in the 25-man squad. Like those players play at the national stadium, whether they're for the under 21s, whether it's for the full English team or not. Did we beat Germany 3-2 at Wembley when Kane scored and Dyer scored or something? You also had Ali's debut was against France, which was at Wembley when he scored against Lloris. There's no excuses. It's 4 stadiums. Real Madrid, and I know it's comparing them to Real Madrid, and I don't think we'll ever be to that level, but Real Madrid when they don't win the Champions League at the Bernabeu, and they don't make like Juve didn't use the excuse, oh, we're not playing at our home stadium, so there was no way we're going to win the Champions League.
Yeah, I know.
So
I agree with you.
it frustrates me when people say, oh, we're playing at Wembley, and the fact that Sky and media and pundits and Paul Merson, a little arsehole, and people like that say, oh, Spurs are going to struggle because they're at Wembley. Everybody in their predictions this year has either mentioned our squad depth and transfers, which is fair enough, or the fact that we're at Wembley.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, surely the teams like Brighton and Huddersfield are going to come at us more because they're really going to want to win at Wembley against a top team, which we are. And then surely that's going to open up the gaps for us to get more points than we would have done last season playing at White Hart Lane, where, like West Brom, when we beat them 4-0 and we were 3-0 at half time, they were scared because they'd seen us win 4-0 the week before and 2-0 the week before that. They were petrified. They came and got battered. So
I mean, like, my fear is to say we don't I hope this doesn't happen. Say we lose against Chelsea.
Yeah.
This hoodoo will this myth that there's a hoodoo will continue to live. That's the problem, the problem is if we don't do well in the first few games, it will become a curse.
Okay,
I think,
and that's when
the issue is that right now, for me at least, there's no curse. Like, it's nothing. We scored how many goals away to Leicester in a massive pitch?
6-1, I believe, because I put I put a caption out saying form is temporary, class is permanent.
Oh.
And we what was it? We got 7-1 against Hull as well, didn't we?
Yeah,
I don't know how
no
big their pitch is, but
pitch or a different stadium, like, because people are saying the size of the pitch, but they've been training on that size of pitch now, and so there's no real excuse. I think if we use excuses and we turn it into a hoodoo, it's going to become one, because, like, for right now, we've yet till we kick the ball on Sunday to actually play our first game at home, so to speak, at Wembley.
Well, when I was listening to Christian Eriksen's interview after the Juve game, and one of the commentators mentioned about Wembley, it was almost like he'd seen, to him, it was almost like it was just another game. Like, it was just and that's how it should be. Like, you should walk through the tunnel in any game going, you know what, I want to come out with 3 points this game, whether you're playing against Real Madrid away in the Champions League or whether you're playing against Bournemouth at Wembley in the Premier League. I also feel like being at Wembley next year, I feel like there's no excuse for the EFL Cup and the FA Cup, because let's face it, we've had the best defence in England for the last 2 years. Our attack was the only or one of the top 3 in Europe to have the front 3 attackers on 20 plus goals and then assists on top of that. Like, there's no excuse for me. Those 2 trophies, you play the last few games of them at Wembley anyway. If we're playing all the other games at Wembley, by the time we get to the final, we should be sorted. We shouldn't we should be going out against a Palace 1-0 like we did the other year. That was last year, actually, wasn't it? It was last year, it was, because they got to the FA Cup final.
So, like, how can I explain? So, for me, I actually think Wembley, if we get it right and we do well there, in the long run, it could actually help us. I know it sounds weird, and no one's probably going to agree with me, but
no. But do you mean that in the sense that then players are used to having to adapt to, say, a new stadium or playing away? So, say when we go away for those long nights across Europe in the Champions League, the players know the feeling to play away from home.
No, in the sense that that's a good point. I didn't think of that, but in the sense that, so say we have our Wembley year and we do well, and this next season we move into a new White Hart Lane. When we next go to a cup final, cup semi-final, because it was our home, quote unquote, the year before, wouldn't it be a lot easier just to play that in that stadium?
So it's almost like then Wembley's going to become, once we've had to make it home for how many games are in the season? 38. What's half of that?
15, 19.
19. Yeah. We've had to make it our home for 19 games a season. Then all of a sudden, then we've got no excuse for the next 5, 6, 7 years leading up that we can't go and win FA Cup after FA Cup after. And I'm not saying I want to stop at an FA Cup, but FA Cup, EFL Cup, if we're winning both of them each season, 3 or 4 seasons running, and pushing for the league and then the Champions League, then surely that sets us up well.
in Wembley it could either go really well or really badly. I think
I think Sunday's going to be the big indicator, really, as to whether
yeah,
it's going to say a lot about the mental capabilities, I think, of the players, because there's a lot of people that still view with the bottle jobs mentality, which, as Spurs fans, we know we didn't bottle anything, but people
I don't think we were ever in the title race last year, personally, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. But, like, that's how people view us, and I think until... Say, if we were to beat Chelsea 3-0
Yeah.
convincingly at the weekend, I think all of a sudden people look at Spurs and say, whoa, hold on a second, they've signed fuck all, they've made the squad weaker, and they've just gone and played Chelsea at Wembley, which supposedly they can't play at all. That's everything we've stamped in Spurs to why they can't win the title this year, and we've just blown it out of the water.
Yeah. I won't say if we beat Chelsea on the weekend, we're going to win the title straight away.
No,
I think that's jumping on hype. But the thing is, I think maybe people, at least our own fan base, will think if we beat Chelsea, even if it's 2-1, that the Wembley hoodoo's gone, and I don't think there'll be any talk about it.
No.
Because the issue is we can't win there. So because obviously we didn't win there during the Champions League games. So I think say if it happens on Sunday, which in some ways is kind of perfectly set up game for us because there's so many injuries or missing players. Even though I still expect Hazard to play.
You still expect him to miraculously be knighted or something overnight and become back full and fit and healthy.
And Bakayoko as well. And
yeah, he started training as well.
Yeah, so I still expect Hazard to play on Sunday. But say we win, even if it's 2-1, which you predict. I mean, in the scenario, I think we're favourites going into Sunday because of Chelsea's injury problems and the unrest with Conte.
It does definitely seem like that we're the better team set up for it. But
because it sold all their depth, so...
Yeah, but then that can work in our favour and against us as well.
Yeah. I fully expect Chelsea to sit back, at least in the first half.
Do you not think it would be easier for them, because knowing that how weak their squad is, do you not think it would be easier to say, you know what, let's just push for it, because if we get a goal in the first 15, 20 minutes, then we can sit back and frustrate Spurs?
Yeah. I don't know. I think they'll either come at us, as in there's going to be no in between. They'll either come at us fully and try and get a goal, because if they get a goal, I can't imagine how Wembley's going to be like on Sunday.
Yeah, it's not going to be nice.
Yeah. And then... But if they might just sit back and try and frustrate us, because at the same time that's going to frustrate us fans and be like, oh, we can't score, we can't.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden you've got the Kane can't show up at Wembley and Ali does nothing and doesn't have an impact on the game unless he scores.
I think with Ali is a weird. It's good to bring him up like that. He does nothing, because there will be games where, for example, in his breakthrough season, where I'll be like, I'll just take him off. I'll give you Palace for example when he scored that goal. And then he'll pop up with a goal like 10 minutes later.
I actually remember your fan came after that game. He was like, I literally just said Pochettino should sub him off, and then he goes and does that. He always proves me wrong. The way he did that like 3-4 games in a row, didn't he? Where you were like, I was praying Pochettino, take him off, bring on Lamella or do something, take him off. And then you leave him on and he goes and scores or gets an assist or whatever.
Because a lot of people might on Twitter, like in my mentions, will say, "Oh, take Ali off at half time or something." Well, I learned not to say that because he'll probably score.
It's strange because a lot of people criticise you when before the game against Chelsea last year, or where Eriksen scored.
Yeah.
I was one of them. There were a lot of people that were like, Eriksen shouldn't be benched, keep assisting. And you're one of the people that came out and said, you know what, Eriksen needs to be benched. He needs to have a snap of the fingers in front of him and say, you know what, sort your ideas out, or you've got a long road to get back into the first team. And he did that, and it worked. And I feel he
did spend a few games on the bench, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And I feel like Ali also, I don't know if you've noticed, but every game that Ali doesn't score in, you can tell he's pissed off with himself when he comes off the field.
Yeah,
He's not scored, he just seems so furious with himself, like he's going to turn around and throw something at someone. And I feel like in the Champions League, when he's having to sit there on that bench and watch Spurs for, is it 3 or 4 games he's got a ban for?
Yeah, I know. He's going to be itching.
He's going to be itching to go on that field, and I feel like definitely for the games, I think it will do a lot for him in terms of not making the mistake again, because he's going to be like, you know what, I don't want to be missing out on this again, because
Yeah.
there's a
Still
chance
luck.
that I know I'd be making that run in the 90th minute that would put Spurs 1-0 up, which would then get us through to the last 16, rather than say, actually, I'm sat here on the bench because of a stupid decision I made in a game that realistically Spurs should have been winning. So,
Yeah. I mean, we should have been them.
well, yeah, we shouldn't have been in the Europa League in the first place, but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said with Ericsson, if he's like he was against Newcastle for the whole season of 30 games or something, I'll, hand on heart say I was wrong.
yeah, exactly.
But the problem is that I've seen Ericsson have, for example, in his first year at Tottenham even, I mean, I was younger then as well, but when Sherwood was in charge, I know I can't believe
I
bringing
know
this up.
Sherwood, but yeah.
But for the second half of that season, he was really good. But then the first half, it was nowhere. The following season under Pochettino, till the Carling Cup final, he was brilliant. But then after that, we didn't really see him. And then even the breakthrough season of us with the title challenge, I felt like he was good for maybe, in fits and spurts.
Yeah, he was never consistently good. Whereas this season, thing is, this is weird because like when people say Kane can't score in August, with Ericsson, it took Ericsson until that Chelsea game where we beat him 2-1 last year to wake up.
Yeah.
And then we're proving that he's shown all the ability that we all thought he had when we were sat there watching videos of him when we'd signed him from Ajax.
Yeah.
But this season, it's almost like he's not had a summer. It's like he's just continued the season. And if he does that, then is that going to get to the point where we don't have to have that 2 months where we're like, Ericsson, for God's sake, you need to be on the bench because you need to sort your ideas out, because he's just continued it.
I mean, I'm saying, if he, for me, we'll get the real answer, because for me, I'm assuming now, because he started this way, he's going to, barring an injury, obviously, he's going to give us at least half a season of consistent, because he started, like you said, he ended the last one. So for me, it's what is he going to be like after Christmas?
Okay.
If he's still at this level,
then it says a lot about his improvements, I suppose.
Yeah. So if what I'm saying, it's good. Obviously, he's picked up from last season. Just keep it up for the whole year.
Yeah, we just can't count our
chickens before they've hatched. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's not like people get this impression that I hate Ericsson. It's not the issue. It's just I just don't find him consistent, and I don't want to sing praises of him.
To be fair,
all the time, because I don't feel like.
This is why I get blocked a lot on Twitter, is because a lot of people say I'm being too blunt and too honest. But as a fan, you just want what's best for the team.
For me, I'd rather people were atting me all season on Twitter because Ericsson's playing well.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than everyone going, Ericsson's playing shit. Why are you criticising him? Exactly. We've gone to the questions I've got then. So the first one is from a good friend of mine and a massive Harry Winks fan. He says, how many goals and assists do you think Harry Winks will get this season? And that's from Quinton.
Yeah. I think he'll get 5 goals and 8 assists or something. He's not really a goal, and like we were speaking before, like assist before the assist.
Yeah.
I think he'll get those kind of numbers. I hear he'll get a few goals, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, he'll like the goal against West Ham last year where he picked up just came on as a sub within 2 minutes. He picked up the ball in the middle of the park, taking it to the other end of the field. Obviously, it was Jansen's parried shot that then allowed Winks to score, but Winks changed that game for us completely. Do you think he's a long-term Gerrard or Lampard for Spurs? Because obviously he's a massive Tottenham fan. He said when he was a PE teacher at school, he said that his dream was going to be one day he'd be playing first team football for Tottenham, and his teacher laughed at him in the face and told him not going to happen. Dreams don't come true or something, whatever. Do you think he'll be like a Lampard or a Gerrard for Spurs, where he will just stay there his entire career and go down potentially as a captain in 6 or 7 years, and then down as ending his career as a legend for Spurs? Or do you think that if a City came snooping in, he would be open to it?
I love to hope that my two namesakes are Spurs fans and they want to stay forever.
Fair enough.
Harry Winks and Harry Kane. With Winks, I think it's a bit, to make a projection like that so early is a bit, maybe he will. I think we will learn a lot more about him this year as well, because last year was his sort of fourth breakthrough season.
Yeah.
So I think we'll learn a lot more about him. For all we know, maybe he'll play a Champions League game because Dembele's got a knock or something.
I'd love that to see. I'd love that Depending on
And
who
you
we
never know,
get.
he might just step up and be, incredible.
Yeah.
Which would be, because for me, Winks, I remember a few years ago when we were playing Europa League and Pochettino's first season, he was making those odd cameos, I think. I don't even remember.
I don't know.
And
I don't particularly want to remember much of that Europa League season. I didn't particularly enjoy
but
it, to be
from what I
honest.
remember in his cameos, he was quite, creative. So I was like, oh, I hope we keep him. I didn't expect him to get to this point.
No, I didn't. Winks, it was almost between. It was amazing because
Winks
obviously
and
everybody
Carroll.
expected Onuma to be the breakthrough player, and Winks has just leapfrogged him like 5-6 times in a row. And I think that's now why, obviously, like Onuma's gone on loan, is because Winks has just developed into a player already that no one thought he would be.
Yeah. I thought, I was worried he was going to just be sold like Tom Carroll.
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as I saw his full debut against West Ham and him score that,
Yeah,
I
I know.
knew he was going to become more than Tom Carroll.
Yeah.
Next question is from B3X Graphics, who says, will Harry Kane break Shearer's record? I think he will.
Yeah.
I think so. I think Kane's the closest thing to Alan Shearer since the man himself.
I think someone told me that he has to score, is it 25 goals a season for the rest of his career or something, and he'll break it.
How many years is that his career that they're saying is that?
So we're assuming it's another, say, 10 years, well, not 10 years. 7 years, I say, 8 years.
7 years, 8 years. So you think he'd play to 32? Yeah, I mean that's possible, and especially like last season, if he
I think he will break it.
I think so. It's all obviously injury dependent and that, but yeah. The next question is then: do you think he'll break it at Spurs?
Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Nah.
Because the thing with Kane is, out of everyone in the team, I think he's the least likely person to leave.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people can say he's not one of your own, etc. But if you saw the way he celebrated when he scored that goal to put us the one that he scored when we won 2-1 in North London derby, and then the scream where he scored the season after when he had the face mask on and he ripped it off.
Yeah.
Like, if you see the passion and drive in him, if he was an Arsenal fan and he was faking that, then he should have a career in acting, not a career in football.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Kane, like with this whole, they're always going to post that picture. But I think he was in like the Arsenal youth, and logically,
they're
going to wear the kit or something.
Yeah,
and then he moved to Tottenham, and for all we know, maybe when he was wearing the Arsenal youth shirt, he was still a Spurs fan anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have a choice.
Like exactly, you don't know. Like there were fans from other clubs who turned out to try and be on the Arsenal fan TV trials and that. They weren't Arsenal fans, but they were wearing an Arsenal shirt because they thought it'd give them better chance to get in.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. Next question is from Mr. Daniel Bwine. I think I said that right. He says, "Do you think we will be finally be able to compete financially with bigger clubs when we move to the new stadium?" I think so. I've always said give it 2 years into new stadium. The NFL deal, the fact that it's the only NFL officially recognised stadium in the UK, the fact that we're sponsored by a big NFL team, and this is one thing I do like about Daniel Levy is the fact that this stadium's like 6 years in making, and it's so financially smart thought about the way that the stands move with the grass growing underneath the seats for the stadium. The fact that it's only 2 games we have to play there a year, so it could be on years that we're not even using the stadium. All the money you get from renting out the rooms and all the hospitality stuff and that, and the financial means. Because let's face it, I went to my first White Hart Lane game in the end of January for my 18th birthday to watch Spurs versus Wickham. Great game, but that area is rough. It's not the cleanest. It's not the nicest and whatever.
Yeah.
And the boost to the economy in that area of London is going to be massive.
Yeah.
So
I've heard a lot that they're building new flats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That people want to snap them up now because in a year or 2 years' time maybe they're going to be worth
yeah, exactly
a lot more because they're going to they're redoing everything, and it's part of the agreement that they redevelop the area.
Exactly.
Especially after the riots.
And this is why I think that I personally think so, because all that money we're going to get from that, we're going to be able to pay for the stadium, and then we're going to be in massive profits. You've also got the fact that it proved on pre-season how much our fan base has grown over the last few years. Like the support we have in foreign countries, America, India, etc., is massive. So, like, if anything, being sponsored with an American football team, one, it's going to bring their sport here, but it's also going to put our sport there. and
Yeah.
the financial support it's going to give us is going to be massive.
Yeah. The American thing's really interesting because I think that's been going for quite a while, and I think it's kind of cemented the fact that Spurs are like the biggest team in America after that City game.
Yeah.
With the boos and stuff. I was just like, wow. I didn't really expect that.
Well, there are a lot of fans that I follow that are from America, because I put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago saying I was pissed off with a certain group of English fans that saying that because you're from a different country or because you weren't born this far out of stadium, you're not a real fan. I'm sorry, but I've only been able to go to one game this year because the rest of my family hates football. So,
but also with foreign fans that people need to take into consideration, and I'm happy I can actually say this on the podcast because people might listen, is that you can't dispute their dedication because they get up at like 3 or 4 in the morning to watch a game, whilst in our cases we may travel, to far away places, and we may get up at ridiculous hours in the morning to go to games.
But some of them
at the same time they have to stay up.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch games like 3 in the morning.
Like their dedication's not questionable at all.
Yeah.
I think
so I don't know how people can be so like harsh,
Well, I support a hockey team in America, but it's like I'll only ever get to go and see them play when I go over there to visit friends. So it's like that doesn't mean I'm not a real fan. It's good to actually be able to speak to someone face to face. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen my pinned tweet about it, but I got really pissed off. There were some people just being nasty and spiteful, and it's like it's not needed. We all want the same thing, and it's like the same situation with like Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, etc. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. There's a point where football doesn't come into account. Respect for them being another human being comes into account, and if you can't respect them, then like you don't deserve to be part of a community, which on a good day is a fantastic community.
Yeah.
So that's.
I mean, when we win a trophy, fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the thing is,
like, this is the thing is, the most active.
This is the thing is when people say about America, foreign fans could pick any other club, but they pick Spurs because they like the way we run, they like the passion and commitment, the fact that the fans are behind the team, the fact that we have a chant for every player and 6 or 7 for Pochettino and 5 or 6 about Spurs. Exactly. So, and then,
but like. The whole foreign fan thing is just ridiculous. Personally, I don't understand why people hate on them so much, and I don't understand it. My one of my family members, he lived in America for a while, and for him to watch games, he had to get up at ridiculous hours.
Yeah,
and he did because he wanted to watch Spurs. So there might be even fans in Qatar or something who get up a ridiculous hours to watch our games.
Yeah, well, there are some people that live in the UK that have like truck drivers or whatever, that have such tight jobs that they have to listen to the games on the radio, and that probably pays them. I hate listening to the games on the radio. Exactly. It's not their fault. Like they do everything. Like if you want to have a conversation with an American fan about Spurs, some of them would know a hell of a lot more than some of the fans over here. Like,
I mean, they probably know more statistics than I do.
Well, there's quite a few people that I know that literally just statistic frenzy and that know it all, and that there's a good friend I have who lives in America who writes for Spurs blogs and things like that, and it's like there are some I don't even do that over here.
Yeah.
So
and
then the final question we've got is anything positive to say on Levy's handling of the
who don't like American fans, for example, because they're in America, they can't vote against. It means like you're hating on, say, I don't know if you listen to Carlos Free
Again,
Captain.
the comparison of the way Chelsea handle you to the way we handle I used to listen to Think about how much a Harry Kane replacement would cost us if we'd never found Harry Kane. Just parted with how much Harry Winks cost, consistent daily that I knew that were rubbish. For me, there were these on the new stadium. For me, these little things make Levy worth keeping. Not only that, I don't know if I enjoy his podcast, but I just while the transfer window's a new stadium, you can see how passionately he talks from a fan's perspective. But like people don't realise he is a Tottenham fan.
Like personally,
he wants nothing better than our club to win the Premier League.
Well,
yeah, like of course you want that. Yes, okay.
My issue with him, this whole lying, foreign
we
fan,
can see this summer,
but there's a certain fan on the East Spurs podcast,
I've noticed,
like you mentioned,
I'm happy
who lives in another country,
who always adds on Twitter,
there's probably not another chairman in the league who does
get up
a game.
I'll give him credit
in the mornings and
all
stuff.
the
Don't see me ever
stadium,
blah blah blah.
All
the non-transfer
saying you're not a real fan
things, I guess, in another country.
But what frustrates me the most
in the morning.
Exactly. Well,
we get to do a transfer, and it's almost to me like he's trying to.
I say,
other fans have said this. He's trying to win on the deal rather than get the player.
To the group chat. I mean,
do you not think then, say when we get 2 years into the new stadium, say we keep ourselves in the top 4 trying to write a text message at half time because I was so tired. We get to summer transfer window in that second year, or go into the start of the second year. It doesn't change. He's like, you know what, our club's so much in the profit now. I can go that where I'd normally be never ever get to see White Hart Lane. 3 million. Like for me, do you not think he'll want to? Or do you not think he'll have then no excuse? Because at the moment, I can understand with the new stadium. Sometimes I still see that Son Janssen 1-2 that then was curved past the Wycombe keeper and White Hart Lane how much invest in youth. I think this is why that feeling. Some of them have never been waiting for the lock and key in that stadium again. Lock and key match for so long.
I was one of the last people to leave White Hart
Lane. I feel like now he's finally
because I refused to go until 9 o'clock, and the guy had to kick me out.
At this such a crucial stage, there are fans abroad that would dream of that.
The issue is, like, I'd rather leave. And like talking White Hart Lane, I got money on players today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Blah blah blah. But
I was tempted to nab a sweet
in terms of buying
when I went to the Wycombe game, but
we
needed tickets.
We're almost.
I was a bit late, a bit early.
What, with 2 weeks of the window left, and we still haven't signed anyone. And then, like you said, Trippier got injured as well, and it's because my dad's been going for years. We sold Walker back in. Got them. But July, for you going to one game is such a massive. We still haven't got a replacement in because you can't go. It doesn't make you any less of a fan.
Exactly.
It's good you brought up pieces earlier as well. Means you're not a fan because he kind of comes under X number of discussion now because everyone's seeing all pieces playing well. Do people still want to write back?
We pride ourselves.
Maybe people should reply to the podcast tweet now. Do you still want to write back after Walker Peters? I know it's because
so to see a few fans.
Levy's stance with youth is good. I agree with him because obviously we connect more with the players. He's great.
There's no need for that.
I'm always worried
the same thing, and that's Spurs
because
win the Premier League
Pochettino's such a good coach.
Yeah, and
he does so well with you.
Contract, but
he's sort of relying on Pochettino.
You don't know how badly I want that to
pour rub out of a hat.
Right, okay. If it's not done by Christmas, it'll be on my Christmas wish list. So every time we need a right back,
hopefully it's done before Christmas.
Who can you bring up in the youth ranks? Who can you get ready to bring up rather than saying, okay, who can we go and spend £25 million on?
I mean, maybe I'm just focusing on Walker Peters because that's, it's current discussion. Because if we don't go and sign right back now, to me it looks like Levy's like, I can't, we've got Walker Peters now. He's done well against Newcastle. And even though I think Chelsea, I'm really scared about him against Hazard against Chelsea. Yeah. But, I almost think that because Pochettino's so good, and we all love him for it, it's almost like, this guy's performing miracles, so I don't have to go out my way to buy a big name or something.
The thing is, I feel like because if you've seen by how much we bid, like originally we bid 35 million for Davis and Sanchez and 20 million for Aurier, and we want roughly 35 million pounds for Barkley. It's almost like he knows that he can buy 3 or 4 players at £35 million each, which is what he seems to have sectioned out for each player. But clubs see it as all of a sudden you've got 75 million or 90 million pounds total to spend. You're 20 million from your budget and you're 75 million pounds from selling everything. So they're going, you know what, we'll just drag that a little bit more out of you, and that's not really his fault.
But I know what you're saying because the Sanchez fee keeps changing, and then I saw something about Brexit today and related to it. I didn't even bother reading it because it would confuse me. But in a sense that it's almost like because we sold Walker and we sold all these players before lining up other players, I think it's given us a massive problem.
So if Levy was to say within the next 2 years, if he was to change and be like, okay, I'm going to buy a player. Say I say we sold Walker for 50 million. So say I'm going to buy Aurier for 25 million, and then I'm going to sell Walker. Would you? Say he did that for every player in every position needed for the positions he had to sell, and then the only ones that he had to do, he had to go and pay up front because there was no one he had to sell to bring in.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you'd be?
I'll be a lot happier,
Yeah. So it's almost like his ideas and his plans for future and Spurs are fine. He just needs to almost tweak 1 or 2 things in the way he does it and the order, or not necessarily the way he does it, but the order he does it, rather than the fact that he does it at all.
Yeah, I think in this window it shows, especially because, like I said, I think because we sold Walker and a number of other players, And obviously, everyone knows there's this policy at Spurs that sell before we buy.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against that, but if you know that Walker's going to go, how can you get into like really advanced negotiations with a player, agree a fee, blah blah blah, and say Walker's going to go next week? We'll sign on the dotted line as soon as Walker goes out the door.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but again, like, you've got to...
Because we knew he was going, didn't we?
We knew
like in April.
Again, you can't particularly have a player in an advanced stage if... And without someone getting that small whiff that you're going to sell someone. Obviously, I didn't expect Walker to go £50 million. Firstly, I never expected him
in this
to go
market,
at all,
I kind of did, but
I didn't really. I was hoping he wouldn't go at all, and I kept telling myself he wouldn't go, but obviously he did in the end.
It was a big loss. I think we really need someone. Yeah. It's in the sense that this window's kind of made everything crazy because I think everyone's got an extra 40% fee.
Yeah.
Because of the TV money, and everyone's got the TV money. We even have the TV money, and the price has just hiked up. I think, in that sense, my issue with Levy, especially with this market, is like he's trying to find value in a valueless market.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
So for example, we got Son for 22 million that summer, and you would say that's about what he's worth.
Well, it seems like a bargain now, doesn't it, in this market?
Yeah. In this market, Son would probably say, I'd say it'd be about £40 million player, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, yeah.
I'd say 40, yeah.
I'd say 40, yeah.
So, say we try to buy Son in this market.
All of a sudden, someone's going to say...
All of a sudden, I don't think Levy would do the deal because...
Someone's going to want 35... someone's going to want, what, 45, 50, 60... Like Lamar, for example. Like, he's not worth...
He got quoted for 80 million, it's crazy.
He's not worth the valuations that have been given for him, but...
Yeah.
Like, it's like, for me, like Lukaku, and I explained it last week, but for me, Lukaku's not a £75 million player at the moment. I would, if I was offered at Spurs, sign Morata for 35 million or sign Lukaku for 75 million, I'd take Morata.
I think Morata's probably better for our, in the sense of that kind of striker anyway.
Yeah, but
I know what you're saying, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that, say we didn't have Son now, hypothetically, and we wanted to sign him, because his value's 40% more, even though we also have the 40% more TV money.
Right, it
Levy
just seems
still
like
doesn't
more
want to
to
play.
Levy. Right, okay, I see that. So, in the sense that the market, the amount you're paying for each player, the percentage almost is increasing each year, but Levy still sees it that player's worth this much, and not with the yearly add-ons for how much money's blown.
Yeah, because haven't Spurs got the TV money, or am I?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've also got new money from the Nike
so
as well.
So that's why everyone, even Everton, are paying 45 million for Sigurdsson. Andre Gray went for like 20 million.
Yeah, he's crazy. Definitely not worth that either.
Yeah, so and even clubs like that are buying players for that amount, and so for me, it's like I was saying, like he's trying to find value in a valueless market because everything's so high up. And with Barkley, I think the reason we're going for him more is because the price is going down. I think with his injury as well, I still think there's an inkling. I still have an inkling that we will go for him on deadline day.
I said, and I've said for about the last 3 weeks now, I said I'll be happy with Barkley, 28 to 35 million pounds, 60 to 80k a week on deadline day.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the only way I'd get over the deadline day scars from last year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And we had Berahino the year before, and we don't fit with deadline day very well. Since we signed Van der Vaart, we've not had a very good deadline day, really, have we?
No. But it's almost like, so with me, with Barkley, he's going to come injured anyway, but I think that's the only player I can pinpoint in the market who has value
in the market.
Value in a valueless market.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
There's no one with him. You're going to get you're going to get the raw young talent that he is for
like he's a £25 million player.
Yeah,
which is why that's what we're willing to pay for him.
It's like I talked about last week that at Shearer's time when he left Blackburn and went to Newcastle, he went for the money that he was worth. Whereas now players are going for for 25, 30, 40% more than what they're actually worth. I hear Nacho's not worth 25 million.
No way.
So what? Like, he's done nothing at City to prove that.
He's a £10 million player, 15 at most.
Exactly.
I'd say.
So it's the case that, do you think that there'll ever come a point where we'll be in such a rich financial position where we, not necessarily City, oil money, or Chelsea, Russians, but we'll be in such a position where Levin can say, actually, I don't have to be worried about this difference because Spurs are making 40, 50, 60% more than what they made back when they were at White Hart Lane?
I mean, from the interviews I've watched him and what I've heard reports of how he is as a person, I don't think that will change. Unless he suddenly becomes more relaxed. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I suppose
how he is as a person, if that makes sense.
as a businessman, it makes sense, but there may become a point where he has to pick between the success of the club as a fan and then the success of a club as a businessman. And
that's the underlying issue. Is like a lot of fans like me see it as though, he's just, it's good business for him to bring in Barkley, for example, instead of. I mean, I want Mahrez personally, but say, for example, instead of Mahrez, because Mahrez, his value in the market's
ridiculous.
Not his it's not his real value. I mean, but then everyone's paying this money because it's a valueless market. But then we got Barkley at 25 million.
The thing is, Barkley's also a difficult one because Barkley's contract has
a year left.
10 months left on it. So in January we can. I'm assuming you can agree a fee, isn't it? The Bosman rule or something where you can agree a fee.
I was thinking something the other day with Barkley that might not be so bad. Couldn't we just get him on loan?
What, with the option to buy at the end of his, or with the no? I don't think you can do loan deals when players are in the last year of their contract, can you?
You can't.
I don't know but it wouldn't make sense to me that a player would finish a loan deal and as soon as they finish that loan deal, they're then a free agent. It would make sense for Spurs' perspective. But I do think now Everton have signed.
They want money from him.
I do think now Everton have signed Sigurdsson. I do think that makes Barkley to Spurs a big one. I actually, if I'm honest, expected you to be a person that would be against Barkley, because I know there's someone that I'm friends with that I have an argument with on a regular basis who wanted Sigurdsson back over Barkley. My attitude was Barkley.
I'm in 50-50 with him.
See, the thing is, people say Barkley's proven nothing, but 2 years before Koeman, Barkley was looking like one of the brightest prospects.
I know.
So people have almost forgotten 2 years ago. Like, Barkley's career didn't just start 2 years ago.
I think my issues with Barkley is, and I think it's all down to him if he comes to Spurs, how he's going to perform, is that for me he comes across on the field right now as he's quite selfish on the ball and he hangs on to the ball too long. But then you look at the Barkley, like you said 2 years ago, he was brilliant. And it's like, you think, can Pochettino get that player out of him again?
I almost feel like it's not even just Pochettino, but I feel like he's already said, and he came out and quoted this, that he admires the way Dembele plays, but then he like his passion is to play alongside Ali. So if he's playing, say we're playing 3 number 10s like we do, and we've got Son coming off the bench, having Barkley in between Ali and Eriksen at all times, he's going to be learning so much. The runs are going to become instinctive, the passes are going to become natural. And then he'll learn the physicality from Dembele for if we were to drop him back. Maybe like we did with Eriksen against Palace, all of a sudden it's Barkley we drop back. And then we bring Son on. Yeah,
I know. Like with Barkley, I guess the advantage is that. I mean, also, I don't know how badly this injury is going to affect him. I hope it's not bad if we sign him, then. But in the sense that with Barkley, I just worry maybe did he hit his ceiling or.
I think Barkley's got a much, much bigger ceiling than. I think the injury's going to knock him back, but I don't think that's something that can't be overcome. Like, there are a lot, and it pissed him off with injuries, right? He's like Lamela. I criticised Lamela last year because there were times where he shouldn't have passed. He should have passed when he didn't, and he should have gone for a bit of skill when he didn't. But now people have turned against him because Son's come good. People have turned against him and forgot that.
I know.
That we missed Lamela. Like, when Lamela comes back, that's gonna be like a whole new signing.
Yeah, I mean, with Lamela. I like him a lot, but he's another one who's quite inconsistent, and I don't know what Lamela we're going to get when he comes back. So, with the whole, he's going to be like a new signing. I think he'll give us another attacking option on the bench. I can't see him really getting involved as much.
No, I can't see him overtaking Son first team. Definitely not, at least for a year.
I mean, he's not going to get in the 3 behind or in the 2 behind at the moment. But and in the sense that I think he'll be good for us in the sense that we'll just plug him into cup games and maybe he'll regain confidence again. But like what I'm saying is, we don't know what Lamella's going to come back. So when people say he's like a new signing, it's kind of assuming that he's going to come back and be like amazing.
Yeah. Well, you'd think a player that's been nearly 12 months out would come back determined and raging and really want to be in the team. And
you'd hope so.
And to be fair, you'd think that the fact that the reason why he rejected a hip operation at first was because he wanted to get back quicker and he was driving to get back on the field, and he put out every week on Twitter or on Instagram that he wanted to be back and he couldn't wait to be back for the fans and everything else. Because let's not forget, he scored our first goal of our campaign last year.
Yeah, I know.
So,
yeah.
And then obviously I don't think he's lost that drive. I just think it was a real shock when Poch said you're having this operation. I think obviously operations can go two ways. It will either be a great recovery and you'll be back playing within a year, or you could never play again. And obviously as a player, you don't want to take that risk or never going to have to play again. But if Poch has then sat with him and said, you know what, you're going to have this operation and you're going to get better and you're going to recover from it.
Yeah.
It does change you, but...
I have to say, there's been no rumours of him leaving.
I mean, there were a few rumours of Inter Milan, but then they've all been stomped completely, haven't they? And I don't think...
The Inter Milan ones are every year, man. Like, every year Inter Milan gets linked with Lamella.
Well, like high profile against Roma, aren't they? And obviously we signed him from Roma, so...
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that there's no legs to it. It's just every year.
It's another guaranteed room. You can almost script in and write into your calendar that we're going to have this at this time and whatever else.
Yeah, basically.
Whoa, well, it's been a very long one, but
it's
been really good actually. It's been good to get your opinion on things and to wonder that I'm not too pessimistic about Spurs transfers, but also to just kind of get your stamp really on the way Tottenham are going and everything else.
To make a prediction, because obviously, I think we'll finish third this year. I think whether we win something or not is all dependent on our transfer business.
Yeah, because I agree with that.
We lack the extra.
I mean, if we added a Barkley and a Diop, for example, and another centre back, then instantly the FA Cup or the EFL Cup should be ours when the first game kicks off. And that's not even me being big-headed. It should be. There's no excuse why we can't.
Yeah, I mean...
Best attack from last year, best defence from last year. We should be used to Wembley by the time you're getting to the FA Cup round the last 8 and so on.
Yeah. It's just the... I think a right-back's definitely needed. I think... I'm quite surprised we're going for the centre-half, even though I really want one.
If we're going for a centre-half, it makes me say that we're playing... and the fact that he's a ball... The two centre-backs we've been linked with are ball-playing centre-backs. Yes, one's 18 and one's 21. One's not played first-team football in the top 5 league, and one's playing the Dutch league. It makes me say that Poch wants to go 3 at the back permanently, or wants to have that option there. Because...
Yeah, I mean...
If we bring in a first-team centre-back... If we bring in a first-team centre-back, Eric Dyer is then rotation or goes into midfield. If he goes into midfield, Dembele's on the bench. If Dembele and Son are on our bench looks a lot 4 or 5 times better than what it did before.
Yeah, so, I mean, I agree, because I don't... At least I'm probably... Everyone gets at me about Dyer because I'm not exactly his biggest fan. But my issue with Dyer is, whenever I watched him in a 3 or even in a 4... I think he looks worse in a 4. But as a defender, I'm not convinced. As
a 3 at the back, I think I am convinced because he's not exposed as much. But in a 2 at the back, he's definitely not a centre back in my opinion.
But as in when I watch him in a 3, even I think I think people kind of brush it off because Toby and Jan kind of cover his mistakes.
Yeah, it's almost like the same situation with Carter Vickers. Is if you brought him in, would he learn anything? Because he's playing alongside 2 world-class defenders. You're not learning any mistakes that Dyer's making because his mistakes are being covered up quicker than he can make them.
Yeah, I don't. One which really sticks out for me is in the semi-final when was it Willian scored the free kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that all came that Toby had to cover because Dyer was. I think he made a mistake earlier in the move or something where he wasn't tracking. Yeah. So in a sense, I'm saying Toby shouldn't really have to make that tackle.
No, he shouldn't. And if we've got a centre back who's maybe got that
like
mindset,
Sanchez, yeah.
Sanchez
like,
is a
I
perfect
will for Sanchez because I was quite surprised we actually moved for a centre half because a lot of people were like, we don't need one because we've got Dyer, and I was like, I personally thought we needed one.
Yeah.
So if we bring Sanchez, bring Aurier and Barkley, and then maybe
I think those three,
I'll be happy.
I think Sanchez. I think for this window definitely. I think Sanchez, Aurier, and Barkley would mean that we've added a midfield player. We've added a stronger centre back, which puts maybe Dyer in field, then Dembele to our bench, and then we put in Barkley, which as a three behind,
another attacking option.
Even I personally would say, and I know he doesn't deserve this, but because I think it's really unfair on him with the way he's played. But I personally, when we're playing 4-2-3-1, I'd put Barkley in there as a number 10 straight away. Once he's obviously recovered from injury, and then drop Son to the bench. Because if you add Son and Dembele to our bench, like Son, Dembele, Janssen, Wimmer, Vorm, like that's
a lot better than before.
That's a lot better, exactly. It's amazing how 3 transfers, and then Kieran Trippier to our bench when he's back from fitness. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yes, I'm saying we need 3 or 4. I mean, for me, for the 4th. I think it's important because, like we spoke earlier about Janssen, because is in a sense I think, and also it's clear that we're looking at a player like that because we wouldn't be linked with Keita
if we weren't. No, exactly.
So he clearly wants someone who wants to play, who's a fast player who can play all across.
He wants another option. Yeah, exactly, and that shows a lot because I think that Poch was when he first joined Spurs, he was quite naive in the sense that he'd be like, or we might need this, but let's not go for it because we don't need to. Whereas now he's going, you know what? I trust my first 11. I trust these players on our bench. Now let's just go and fill in the last little holes to create an all-round perfect team. And I think he's not a million miles away.
Yeah. I mean, 4 players, and I think I'd be more inclined to say we're in the title race.
If, say, we were to get the 3, so we were missing a Martial or a Keita, do you think we'd still be in the title race till the end and potentially win it? Or do you think we'd still be missing the final cog, that one last player to offer that
pace,
that extra option?
It's a good question. I think we'd push. I don't think we'd win it, but I think we'd be in it. Like the first season with Leicester.
Yeah.
I think it would be that, but maybe even more. But I just think City still have that extra edge. That's the only thing that worries me is City. They've got the extra, because you look at all their attacking options and you're like,
and you look at it and you think, I dream of those attacking options. But as we discussed last time, if we're only playing with one striker, which we do, it's not like we can bring a Gabriel Jesus in who's going to play alongside a Kane, for example. But if he comes in at the age of 18, he's like, if it was me as an 18-year-old, I was told to play backup to Harry Kane. As a Spurs fan, I want that. But say I'm I don't know, I've got no support a football team, and I come in and I'm saying, okay, you can come in as an 18-year-old, you can sit on our bench and play second fiddle to Harry Kane. Now I'm good, mate. I'll go somewhere I can play first team football. Like even if I go to the Championship for 3 years, I'll go somewhere where I can prove myself. And it's like Spurs. People say sign someone to play in your first team to then put that player on your bench. I'm sorry, but if I was told I could bring in Isco and put Dele Alli on our bench, I'd tell them to get lost. So that's my personal opinion. Even with Eriksen now, I think that if I was told to bring in a Coutinho and put Eriksen on our bench, I'd tell them no.
I mean, that's what I think with Eriksen, we should skip that because I would just sit down to my opinion because, but because obviously I think I'd say Coutinho or Isco over Eriksen. But if Eriksen does 30 games this year or 29 or something like that, then I'll say Eriksen because he's already here.
It completes Eriksen's missing that final confirmation that he has changed and he's become the player we thought he was going to be.
If he's consistent, then I'll know,
He's got no faults of Eriksen. So it's all going to depend on the season, obviously. But
for me, I know what you're trying to say, but at the same time, we can't bring in players who are just going to sit on the bench and just be complete backups.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard in this market to find the right balance.
I think Barkley is a good. It's a good one to bring up because I think he kind of fills that role in the sense that I think
he's someone who wants a fresh. Ross Barkley wants nothing more than a fresh start to revive his career, and Spurs is the best, and Pochettino is the best man proven for that.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then, like, we need a right back. I'd rather Walker Peters Scott alone, and the centre-half, I'm quite happy with going for one. And, like, for me, maybe it doesn't even have to be Martial, but it has to be, like, an option like that.
See, I actually tweeted this out earlier, but when Backles confirmed a 1-year loan move to Villarreal, Spurs should have been all over that, in my opinion, because he's not got abundances of pace, but he's still a more over the top and getting behind than he is a hold-up player.
Like Hernandez. Yeah, you mean Hernandez? Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of Hernandez. Like, for me, I really want us to get Hernandez because I thought he can be that kind of player.
The one that's gone to West Ham.
Yeah, he's gone to West Ham.
Yeah, like he would have been fantastic. I'd have loved him at Tottenham, if I'm honest.
But if we get Martial in the end, because I think he could be moving. I know they're not saying that now, but if Perisic goes, I think he'll be off.
Yeah, like the United have no reason to keep him. I do feel like United have got a few more signings in their tank.
He's got one more apparently.
Would you take if there was no option to buy?
Yeah.
At the end of the 2 years, would you take Rashford on a 2-year loan?
Yeah.
Even though he's not really done it consistently, he's not played consistent first team football. So you can't say that if Kane got injured and Rashford was to play 25 games a season, whether he'd get you enough goals to keep you afloat in top 4.
He would, because Rashford he's got so much ability, and I think Pochettino, someone like Pochettino, he'll probably score loads because he's just so much. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd rather sign Rashford over Martial, but United aren't going to sell Rashford.
No, and as a boyhood United fan, he would probably prefer to.
He probably wants to succeed there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, with the whole Alex Hunter thing, you kind of think that he's linked to it, didn't you? But yeah, no, it's it's been good. It'll be interesting to see. Definitely, it'll be a big indicator of Spurs this season ahead. I think what happens on Saturday, because if we do Sunday, it was supposed to be Saturday. We had 2 games that were changed from bloody Sunday games from Saturday games to Sunday games. Pissed me off. First 2 weeks of the Premier League and we're playing on Sunday. Ridiculous.
Do you not like? I was one question. I got the impression you don't like playing on a Sunday, do you?
I just hate waiting so long for it, even though it's only the same amount of days anyway. I feel like I'm waiting longer for a Sunday game, and the fact was.
I guess when you work, because I'm getting a job, I'm starting a job soon. But in a sense that Sundays were alright because I get all my stuff done, and I maybe go out on a Saturday night or something.
So then I guess for Sunday it works. Whereas for me, I get my A-level results tomorrow, so.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. But so it's like I just want the football to be there. Watching Match of the Day on a Saturday, like obviously for the podcast, I've started taking notes of little bits here and there now. But like, I can't sit there and go, oh my god, when Spurs are going to be on. There were 2 games on Sunday. We played first, and we were still the second kickoff on Match of the Day. Like how on earth that worked, I don't know. But that's a bone I got to pick with Gary Lineker one day. But yeah,
I mean, I have to admit, I've watched Match of the Day less and less each year, just mainly because I don't know, it's become a bit stale, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it is supposedly the same, but at least you have got some pundits now that are not biased. Like, credit to Thierry Henry, last year, as much as it hurt him to say it, he wasn't biased.
Like, he's not that biased.
He's one of the best pundits out there. He's like true to himself. And
I hated him when he joined, but he's actually...
Well, yeah, of course you do, because he tore us apart year on year out, so...
Yeah. He was, I have to admit though, he wasn't, like, I still think, hand on heart, I was saying it was the Spurs podcast, I still think he was the best striker I've seen play.
Understandably so. Yeah, but the thing is, this is something I've always been like, if a player, like Pedro, for me, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, I'm happy to admit that, because, like, you've got to give credit where credit's due. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's why when I praise other teams, everyone's always on me like, "Oh, you're just saying that because you're anti-Spurs." But no, it's just because
you should be free to like you said about the Kyle Walker comment earlier. You were a little bit worried about saying, but if a player's genuinely played well, whether they're a snaky little arsehole or whether they're a player that's played for your club for 20 years, they still deserve credit and recognition. Even if he has gone for 20, 30, 40 grand more a week. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the wage structure, I know we haven't touched on that question, but just to close off, like, I do think we do need to change that, because I'm just worried that, even though I agree with Shearer's view on Match of the Day that they need to work hard to get that wage, like, I'd be the first, in principle that works, but in the real world, in the real football world, that won't work. You know, Toby will go if he doesn't get a new contract of over 100 grand, I think.
Yeah, well, not only that is as people claim, and other fan bases are realising now, he is the best centre back in the league. What happens when PK starts making mistake after mistake after mistake, and Barcelona are like, we need a new centre back?
They're going to come for him, aren't they?
Of course, they're going to come for him. So
I remember when he came to us, and I couldn't believe how. Obviously, we're lucky his release scores were so low, but I couldn't believe how good he was. I knew he was solid at Southampton, and he had that statistic that they were the best defence or somewhat like that. But when I started watching, I was like, this guy is just ridiculous.
I'll be honest, I've never, like with Maurizio Pochettino, I'd never heard of him when he was at Southampton. Never heard of him. So,
the weird thing is, the games at Atletico I watched him, he was playing at right back, so maybe it was an unfair
I suppose.
But I never really a fan of him when he was playing at right back at Atletico. But then again, it wasn't his position. So with Dyer,
we signed Dyer to be a right back, didn't we? And we played him at centre midfield.
If he's central midfield, he's a central midfielder and he plays well there. He's good, but I'm not convinced of him of being a centre half.
It is good to have the extra options and the extra versatility.
Yeah, in an emergency, you can throw him in there.
I was actually expecting Poch to play Dyer at right back against Newcastle, if I'm honest.
I was as well.
I'm just glad it wasn't Sissoko at right back.
Yeah.
The sooner we sell him, the better.
Yeah.
and this is the difference between him and Janssen, is Janssen has work rate, Sissoko doesn't. No, if you put Janssen's work rate into Moussa Sissoko, he would be a fantastic player. Exactly. On paper, Sissoko's your perfect player. Then if you add his personality, he's just shit.
He when he signed, I was like, I said to him, I said to my loads of other Spurs fans, this guy's just another Adebayor. As in, it's just because with him, if Sissoko wants to play, he can be an amazing player, but he doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
That's the thing, he doesn't want to play.
If only we could just brainwash him, that'd be great.
If he had Janssen's, basically with Janssen, he's got the work ethic, but then for me, doesn't have the ability, and he hasn't shown it.
Hasn't shown it.
It's the other way around.
Sissoko's shown the ability, but he's got no work rate at all, no motivation or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does bug me with Sissoko. I do think we should try and, although someone actually, I said to someone earlier when they were talking about Davison deal, I said lower it to 20 million plus Sissoko and Wimmer, and someone said take Sissoko out because you've just devalued the deal by adding him in there.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, nice.
It's been good.
It's been good, yeah, definitely to talk about Spurs in general and to get everything out there. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I'll be honest, I was very, very shocked when I got the message. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll hopefully get you on again some point soon. But nice. Yeah,
it's been good. Nice talking to you.
It's been good, and then hopefully Spurs can come out with 3 points at the weekend. And as I said last week, it's only fair to do as a general football podcast is I wish all your teams the best of luck, unless you're Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City. Who are the other in the top six?
Man United
and West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, be good.
All right. Oh, thank you very much for coming on, and then
thanks for having me.
No problem. And if you've got any other guests you want to recommend for next week's one, hopefully, obviously, fans from different fan bases is what I aim to get and things like that. But as long as they're honest, general, true, respectful fans, then I'm fine with that. But no.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.